Good morning, everyone. If you're just joining us, we'll give a few seconds to let folks come into the room before we get started. Hope everyone's having a great day so far. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. So good morning and thank you for joining us today for our Explore CSUF web series. We hope it will provide you with many resources and information to help you prepare for your new exciting journey at Cal State Fullerton. Today's presentation will be led by our Diversity Initiatives and Resource Centers. So before we get started, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Kristen Johnson. I'm an Outreach and Recruitment Counselor and also the Transfer Center Coordinator here at Cal State Fullerton. If you do have any questions during this presentation, feel free to submit your questions to the Q&A feature. You'll see that down below on your screen, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. But without further ado, I am actually going to go ahead and turn it over to our presenter. So I'll go ahead and let him introduce himself.
Hi everyone, my name is Nate Nguyen. I use he, him, his pronouns. I am the coordinator for the Office of Diversity Initiatives and Resource Centers. So I'm very happy to be here to chat with all of you and help you learn a little bit more about the resources we have in our office. It's an exciting time for all of you to consider Cal State Fullerton, and we look forward to having you on campus. As a department, we have 5 different resource centers under us, which I'll go into details, but it's a very welcoming space. It's a great place, centrally located on campus at the library, and a lot of students come through and utilize our spaces, and it's just a great place to be. So I'll go over into details about our location, where we are, our missions, and I'll talk about each of the resource centers and what we provide. So if we were on campus, we are located in Pollock Library South in 180. We typically are open from 8 to 5 Monday through Fridays, and our email is dirk@fullerton.edu. So even now, if you have questions, you can email us, and I'll be happy to respond to your emails. And even if you give us a call and leave a voice message, or send us an email and we'll respond to you as well. And so under Dirk, we are a full team. We have our director, Dr. Sophie Leon. We have Terrell Forey, who is the coordinator for the African American Resource Centers. Tia Che, she is the coordinator for the Asian Pacific American Resource Center. She will be starting on Monday, so she'll be brand new to our team. Ariana Moramero is the coordinator for the Chicano Resource Centers. We recently renamed that center as the Latinx Community Resource Center. Nat Bencourt is the coordinator for the LGBTQ Resource Center. Martha Zavala Perez is the coordinator for the Titan Dreamers Resource Centers. And then in our administrative team, we have Lucia De La Torre. She's our administrative support coordinator. Myself as the coordinator for Dirk. And then we have Blue Vargas, who is our program support assistant. Over the summer, if you want to reach us, you can always email us, but we are also hosting summer office hours. So if you want to take a screenshot of this, you can. You can find our Zoom link right there. And then during these specific times, you'll be able to chat with any one of the coordinators. And we can talk about anything you want. We can answer more questions, or if you just want to chat with someone, we're there all summer. So the mission of Dirk is we are here to empower, educate, and engage you, students, and the Titan community through co-curricular learning. We provide support and advocacy for students to expand their cultural competence and identity development. So, our primary focus are is students. We are student focused, student oriented. Most of our programmings and activities are geared towards students. But we leave that open to faculty and staff too if they want to come and learn about different issues, different topics that we have. But really our focus is you, our students. And we want to make sure that we find opportunities for you to engage on campus. We believe that learning happens in the classroom and outside of the classroom. So we provide a lot of co-curricular learning opportunities, but we also really want you to build community on campus. We know that students who are engaged, who are going to school and are participating in different things, they get better GPA, they graduate better, they graduate on time. And so we want to make sure that you don't just come to campus, go to classes and go home. We want to make sure that you find a home on campus and that you're engaged on campus. There are so many different offices and different opportunities to engage on campus, and Dirk is just one of those opportunities for you to engage with. One thing before I get into the details of our different spaces, I want to talk about safe space or brave space. So typically, oftentimes when people think of our offices, our centers, they think of it as being a safe space. So what is a safe space? Right? The definition of one is a place or environment in which a person and their identity can feel confident that they will not be exposed to discrimination, criticism, harassment, and or other emotional or physical harm. So people feel safe when they come to the space, and oftentimes, if they have a protected identity, they want to have those identities protected. They want to have that privacy. A brave space, on the other hand, is a space or environment inclusive of all identities and lived experiences. It allows students to express themselves, challenge and learn from one another with civility, respect, owning intentions and impact, engagement by choice, and commitment to prevent harm. So what this means is when you come into Dirk, we want to make sure that you're able to learn, that you're able to engage with other people and talk about difficult conversations. Because when it comes to identities, when it comes to politics, when it comes to a lot of different other topics, it's challenging, it's difficult, but we want people to be able to express themselves, but in a respectful and in a civil way. Owning intention and impact means that you understand that you might have good intentions, but what you say and do will have harms or impact on other people. So just because you have good intention doesn't mean you're allowed to hurt other people. So being able to be mindful and conscious of that. And engagement by choice means you don't have to engage if you don't want to. You can be in the space, but if people are challenging you, you don't have to engage and you don't have to respond, right? And so that engagement is by choice because you have the right to be there as well. And everyone must maintain commitment to prevent any kind of harm. So for us, we are sort of in between the safe space and the brave space because our spaces are for learning. We do have some programs and activities where we're exclusive. We say only students of a certain identity can attend these programs. For example, in the LGBTQ resource centers, when they have their program called Rise and Pride, is only for students who belong in the LGBTQ spaces or who are questioning. So for them to come in and have that space and feel safe and be protected from their identity being exposed because they're not ready to come out yet. So we do have some events that are safe spaces, but in general, most of our activities are brave space events where we encourage people to come and learn about other identities, to come and be in community with other people and learn and participate and engage in conversations and really support one another and learn to be better allies as well. In the front of our department, we have a space called the Brave Space. It doesn't belong to any of the 5 centers, and it is a space where a lot of people of different identities come together for different kind of programming and learn as well. Okay. So now I'll go into our 5 resource centers. The first one I want to talk about is the African American Resource Centers. Their contact information is on the left, so please feel free to jot down or take a picture of any of those contact information that you're interested in. You're welcome to check them out on Facebook and Instagram. Most of our centers are very active on Instagram, and so if you're on Instagram, please add them. That way you'll know about programmings and activities that are happening right now in the summer. We're still very active over the summer with a lot of different activities that we are planning for virtual spaces, so please join us there. And some of the program highlight with the African American Resource Centers, or we often call the ARC. They have a welcome back event in the fall. Typically, it's all Black students and staff, and faculty. It's a great way for students to connect with their faculty and staff on campus. So if you're new on campus and you want to make friends and you want to build community, that's a great event. So even if we are virtual, we will have a welcome back event as a way for you to find other friends, faculty, and staff who look like yourself and identify with you to build that community right off the bat. Black History Month is really important, that it's celebrated with a lot of different activities. I think in February there was probably like close to 40 different events that was planned for Black History Month. It was really amazing. There was music, lectures. They even had the choreographer for for the homecoming video who came in, and they did a routine and they practiced it with students. It was really amazing. And, you know, Beyonce music was blasting and people practiced the routine and dance together. It was really a sight to see. They do a lot of social justice workshop. So considering everything that's happening in our country with Black Lives Matters, with the protests, you know, they hold space for students to process these informations, to process what's happening, to express themselves, but also to continue to work on those advocacy pieces to move forward with the movement and to educate other people as well. The ARC loves movies, so once a month there'll be some kind of movie that people will watch together and have a discussions. A lot of the movies are related to the Black experience, and so it's great. Diaspora Dialogue is they bring in professionals either on campus or off campus who identify with the community to talk about their professional experience, to talk about their own personal experience and connecting that with students' experience. Lots of graduate schools and career workshops as well. And at the end of the year, at the end of your time at Cal State Fullerton, you'll be able to participate in the Pan-African Recognition Ceremony. So this is our graduation recognition event that coincides with commencement. So it's an opportunity for Black students to come together with families and friends and have a culturally relevant graduation experience. Next is the Asian Pacific American Resource Center, or APARC. APITA Rising is our welcome back event, so very similar to the ARC where we have a welcome back event. APITA Rising typically brings together faculty and staff on campus and students and off-campus resources that are supportive of the Asian Pacific American community. We have immigration narratives, and so that's something that happens in the spring where we talk about different immigration experience for different communities. So this spring we talk about the Pakistani experience, the Vietnamese American experience. So that's something that we work on in the spring. In the fall, we have APITA Community Conversations where we bring in also APITA professionals who can help students learn about their own identities or learn about the professional journey. APITA Heritage Month is typically May, but on campus we celebrate APITA Heritage Month in April, just because a lot of people aren't around in May because that's when finals and graduations happen. So we celebrate APITA Heritage Month in April. And this year we had to celebrate APITA Heritage Month online. So that was a change, but we did a lot of social media campaign. We still had a lot of workshops. So we had one on the census and how APITA groups are counted and what resources we need. We had one event on anime and fandom and how that affects different identities. But we try to be very creative, and we also put together events that's related to art and cultures for the month of celebrations. Tight Night Market is a big event that happens on campus in March. So we try to mirror the 626 night market that happens in Santa Anita Park. We have a one-night event on campus. Everything is completely free, including food and entertainment. And so we would invite fairly big name entertainers to come and perform. So this year we invited AJ Raphael to come perform, but because of everything, it was canceled. But that's something to look forward to in March of every year. It's grown very big. We were expecting about 600-700 people this year. And a lot of identity and social justice workshop as well. And our year-end celebration is called APITA Graduation. Our next center is the Latinx Community Resource Centers. Prior to this, it was called the Chicano Resource Centers, and a lot of students didn't feel as included because Chicano refers to Mexican descent. And so in order to make the community more inclusive, we did an assessment to ask students, faculty, and staff, everyone on campus, what their thoughts and feelings was when it comes to the name and how it made them feel welcome and included. And so based on that assessment and based on presentations, based on focus groups, it was decided that it would be called the Latinx Community Resource Centers to be more inclusive of the entire community. So they have a Latinx Heritage Month celebration as well. It was this past year was the theme was a block party. So it was really fun. A lot of people came together. There was dancing and music, and there was also always a learning opportunity involved with our Heritage Month celebrations. They have Platicas with Professionals, which are speaker series. So similarly to the other centers, they have speakers who identify with the community, who come in and talk and try to build community and help students learn about their professional journey. Their Meet Cultura Cura is their art series. So everything from painting to mosaic to dancing. That was a really fun event that I attended. And so you learn about different Latin dances. So it's a really awesome series that I would encourage everyone to attend and learn more about their own culture, about other people's cultures. They help celebrate Dia de los Muertos. A really fun event that I attended last year through this center was the Latinx Top Chef, where students cooked their own food, brought it together, shared with other people, talk about the relevancy of the food, and their food was judged, and winners were decided, and they won gift cards to grocery stores. It was a really fun event, and it was very well turned out. And throughout the year, there's just a lot of history and cultural education opportunities as well. The LGBTQ Resource Center, their Welcome Back event is called Rainbow Welcome, and National Coming Out Week is celebrated in October. So this past year in October, we celebrated National Coming Out Week, and for the first time in Cal State Fullerton history, we flew the inclusive pride flag, and we had a ceremony around that. So that was really exciting, and it really shows the progress that our campus is making to be more inclusive and welcoming of students. LGBTQ plus ally training. So we provide that monthly for students, faculty, and staff to make sure that our campus is learning how to support LGBTQ students better. There's a lot of support in the centers, resources on coming out, gender affirming closet. So they've asked for donations and gotten a lot of closed donations and created a closet. So if folks want to come in and pick out clothes, they're welcome to do that, right? And connecting students to both on-campus and off-campus events. Lots of history and cultural education as well. And at the end of the year, they have a lavender graduation for the communities. They also work with other student on campus to put together queer prom. And so that's also another really great event that happens in the spring because not a lot of students get to attend prom as who they are in their high school. And so we put together a queer prom for students to continue to have that experience on campus and celebrate and have a great time in their own community. And finally, we have the, I'm sorry, the heading is wrong. It's our Titan's Dreamers Resource Centers. So it's Titan Dreamers Resource Centers, and we serve undocumented and DACA students and Dreamers students. And so we estimate roughly about 2,000 undocumented students on campus. And so this week was a great celebration for the community with the Supreme Court ruling that DACA is safe for now. And so through the resource centers, they provide Dreamers Meet and Greet, which is their welcome back event in the fall. They have legal services provided to CareSen. So students can get legal services on campus, whether they have questions or they have, they need help going to the court, whatever it is, we help to connect students with legal services. Immigration legal clinics is open to pretty much anyone and everyone. So with legal services, that's only available to members of the Cal State Fullerton family. So that includes students, faculty, and staff. But immigration legal clinics happens throughout the year, where it typically happens on a weekend where the campus is quiet and empty. And we utilize all of our DIRC spaces where students can bring in their families and friends. So people who aren't part of the Cal State Fullerton membership, but they can still utilize legal services. We provide undocumented ally training for faculty and staff and students to become and learn how to be better allies on campus. California Dreams Act How To, so to help students to fill out the California Dream applications and to help guide them through that process. And then whenever there are new policy updates, the centers will provide a workshop to help the community understand. So what's new, what's changed. So with the new ruling from the Supreme Court, we will have a policy update as well to help people understand the ruling better and provide space for that. So next week, next Tuesday, the Dreamers Resource Centers will have space for people to come and learn about the updates on the SCOTUS ruling, as well as having space for students to process that. And then they're undocumented and unafraid. That's one of those safe space events that I mentioned earlier. So only students who are undocumented can come together and have an opportunity to be in community with one another and learn and talk. And then finally, at the end of the year, they have the Dreamers Grad. And I see a question, just want to make sure. Okay, so I think one of the staff will get to that. Another thing that we have through Dirk is our Colors of Culture gallery. So when you walk into Dirk, you see the Brave Space, and right next to the Brave Space is our Colors of Culture gallery. So this is something that's brand new this past year that we put together to celebrate art and cultures. So we've been putting together different themes throughout for every month and then folks will contribute their art pieces, and we'll have a gallery opening, a reception. So in February, we had The Pieces I Am, which is a reflection of Toni Morrison's autobiography. And so that's a celebration in connections to African American History Month. March, we celebrated Women's History Month, and so the program was called Woman Thou Art. And then in April, the program was called Peter Amplified. So every month we aim to have new art in the gallery and for people to come and enjoy the art and talk about the relevancy of art and culture and identity. So it's a really great way. So if, even if you don't want to visit any of the other centers, I would highly encourage you to at least come and check out the art and have the conversation started, and maybe, inspire you to visit some of the other centers as well. Okay. And then we offer a lot of different workshops. So our name is Diversity Initiatives and Resource Centers. So I just talk about the resource centers, but we also have what we call diversity initiatives. So these are programming that we provide, as well as workshops that we provide for our greater community. So Dirk 101 is one of those things that we do. We go into classrooms and we talk about who we are and the resources that are available. We do Who Am I? Explorations of self-identity. So we explore the different identities that you have. And it's an opportunity for students to look at their multiple identities and talk about it. Four-corner exercise talk about the values and the importance of our identities and what we hold as our most important identities and how they impact our everyday experience. We do cultural matters, values, and artifacts. So that's one where we talk about cultural appropriations and cultural appreciation. We do intercultural communications, where we learn about different values and different cultures and how that impact people's ways of communication and how that impact conflict resolutions. We do a workshop on identity, privilege, and leadership. So we examine identities and their privileges and help students put those privileges into leadership. And finally, we have a cultural, universal, and personal workshop where we look at different values and understand if they're cultural, or they're universal, or if they're personal values. And this is typically a very introductory workshop that is geared toward international students. So beside this workshop, we provide workshops on allyship. We do workshops and activities that's relevant. So whenever new issues come up, we try to put together workshops. We also help celebrate MLK Day of Service. So those are part of the diversity initiatives that we're engaged in. And we help support student clubs and orgs who come in and need support. So we provide resources to them as well. So as an incoming first-year students, you'll likely take freshman seminars, and a lot of the freshman seminars instructor will invite me into their classroom to do one of these workshops. So I'm hoping to see some of you all again soon. Okay. And again, these workshops can be requested by you. It doesn't have to come from teachers. So if you are in a student organization and you want to have a workshop for your own organizations to learn more about diversity, learn more about identities, you yourself can request these workshops by going onto our website and then clicking training and workshops. So these are some things from this presentations as well. I know this space is not set up for discussions, but to think about, what does diversity means to you? And so on campus, for us, diversity, it's more than just having a multitude of different identities, right? We want to make sure that, yes, that is represented, but we want to make sure that people feel included. And so we want to make sure that diversity and inclusion go hand in hand. We don't want to just have, say we have these many numbers of people who identify this way, these many number of people who identify another way. We want to make sure that people are actually seen and heard and are welcome to different spaces. So we want to make sure that through our resource centers that people have the opportunity to have these conversations, that they feel welcome, that they feel included, that their voices are heard, and that they have community on campus. And we provide trainings and resources to our faculty and staff and members so that they can become better allies to make sure that students feel included in the classroom, that students feel seen and heard. And we want to make sure that the other question that we encourage for you to think about is, what is one identity that you would like to explore this year? Right? So that could be your ethnic, your racial, your sexual orientation, your gender identity, your documented identity, your physical identity. So anything that you want to explore, we want you to think about it and maybe commit to at least one identity that you want to explore this year, and utilizing campus resources, our resource centers and other resource centers on campus to explore that identity. Right. And then finally taking opportunities to learn about what actions or behavior you can take to be more inclusive of others. So for example, when I introduce myself, I will introduce my pronouns. That's one way for me to communicate to other people that I understand pronouns and that I respect people and their pronouns. And so that's one thing that I encourage other faculty and staff to do as well. And so these are things that you also can participate in, that you can also take up. Using inclusive terminologies, I use folks instead of you guys, right? So things like that. So I encourage you that through this presentation and through your time at Cal State Fullerton to really think about what does it means to have a diverse community? What does it mean to be inclusive? What identity do you want to work on? And then what actions and behaviors can you work on to make sure that you help other people feel included? And with that, I'm going to open it up to comments and questions. And so Kristen and one of the other staff will help me navigate the questions and answer process.
Yes. So thank you. First and foremost, thank you, Nate. I learned so much from the presentation and about all of our identity-based centers. So thank you for your time and for this presentation. We'll go ahead. Let me look at the Q&A. So it looks like these questions are related to some other items. So will Discover Fest be done remotely through Zoom or other means? So yeah, we usually have Discover Fest in person on campus every semester. I imagine that this year they're gonna have a different type of format set up. So what I would recommend is to continue to check our website. The two websites I would recommend are coronavirus.fullerton.edu, because that has all of our updates related to COVID-19. And then you can also check out our Student Life and Leadership website. I'm sure they'll have some information to update what Discover Fest is gonna look like this year, because unfortunately it would not be happening on campus for this year. For fall 2020, temporary remote instruction. Yeah, so for fall classes will be virtual. The only classes that will be in person will be classes that require the student to be in person. So for instance, like a lab class or something along those lines, but majority of classes are gonna actually be virtual for the fall. So hopefully that answers your questions. I'll give it a second and see if we have any other questions, because we have some time, so we'll see if any other questions come in. All right. Well, that looks like was it for the day. But again, thank you, Nate. Just want to extend a thank you to you and the Diversity Initiatives Resource Center. Learned a lot of great information. Just a couple of announcements before we close out today. If you know somebody that wasn't able to see this webinar, what you can do is go ahead and let them know that this will be recorded. And it's actually going to be posted on our Welcome Day website. So if you go to fullerton.edu/welcome day, you will actually be able to see not only this webinar, but we have tons of other webinars that we've been offering for the past few months that showcase all of the resources and the services that Cal State Fullerton has to offer. So definitely share this information with your friends. If they missed today's very informative webinar, they can go ahead and check it out on our website. It will be posted. And then also, if you follow us on social media at CSUF Outreach, we will have further updates posted for you there and information regarding some of our other future webinars that we have coming up. And then lastly, for our attendees that did attend today, we just want to thank you for attending. We do want to let you know that there's a survey that's going to be sent out to you at the end of this webinar. And your input is very important to us. So if you can please just take a few minutes, go ahead and fill out that survey, and we would really appreciate it. Before I close out, it looks like we got another question here. So I don't know if you want to take this one, Nate. It's from Joseph. He says, are there workshops so we can learn about the other diverse groups on campus?
Right, so not through DIRC. We typically focus on the different groups that are served through DIRC, but we always work in collaboration with other departments and units. So I would say if you follow DIRC on Instagram, you at least see that we will be reposting a lot of other workshops that happens on campus. So for example, we have the Mass Success Initiatives, right? When they do workshops or activities, they'll post them and we'll reshare them on our page so that people can see them. Our women and adult reentries, our veterans resource centers, for example, and a lot of student clubs and orgs when they have events that focus on other identities and other diverse groups on campus, will share that as well. And so I think connecting to many of the different offices on social media will be a great way for you to learn about what other available workshops that are happening on campus. And of course, through our 5 centers, we focus on those 5 identities for now. We're always trying to expand, and we're always thinking about intersectionality of identities, because we're not just one identity. And so typically between the different resource centers, we'll also have collaborative events. So we'll have like queer PETA socials, right? And so people who are both queer and a PETA, or queer and Black, or Black undocumented. So we have a lot of different kind of intersectional activities. And then we also try to collaborate with other campus partners as well. So there'll be opportunities where you can learn about other resource centers on campus, but I would say at the very least, try to connect with us on social media so that you can see when we share other resources, other resource centers on campus.
Awesome. Thank you for answering that. Social media, there's so much great information there and updates. So definitely connected on social media with our various departments.
Oh, and one more thing, there are a lot of student orgs on campus who are identity-based or culturally based. And so you can go onto our website, fullerton.edu/DIRC. And then once you click on each of the different identity-based centers, there is a resource tab where you can find all the organizations that identify with that. So all the PETA organizations, all the Black organizations, the Latinx organizations, etc. They will be listed on there. So that's one other way to connect with different students' orgs on campus. So, if you don't get to come to Discover Fest, whether one format or the next, you can still find some of these identity-based or culturally based organizations through our website as well.
Great, thank you, Nate. I'll see if there's any other last-minute questions. Give it a few seconds here before we wrap it up. Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and close this out for the day. Again, thank you, Nate. Thank you to all of our attendees for attending our webinar today. And again, don't forget to take care of that survey that'll be sent out to you. So thank you all so much. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.